Woo, folks, bro. I'm super stoked about this episode because this gentleman that I have on is super good friend of mine. One of my best friends that I've known forever. I mean, literally, we did all kinds of stuff together. We did Polynesian dance together. We played volleyball together in high school. We went to school together at Kamehameha. We went to church together. I mean, he's probably the guy that I've done the most things with. And it's cool to have him over here in on the episode today. He's fellow Popocalerian, brother of Lyndon Lee, who I had on earlier. And I'm just gonna be quiet and let him talk because I know he's a busy guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, introduce you to my brother from another mother. This is Adam Lee. Bro, go ahead.
Introduce What's up, everybody? Yep. Just to introduce myself, my name is Adam Lee. I was born and raised in Hawaii, born in at Kaiser Hospital, right in Honolulu. Half of my life I was raised on the North Shore in Hauula, Hawaii, and then later moved back to Papakolea, where my father's from, and that's where I stayed until I permanently moved to Utah. I went to Lincoln Elementary. I went to Hauula Elementary, Lincoln Elementary. Then I went to Kamehameha schools for middle school and high school, graduated from there, then went on my Mormon mission for 2 years, then went back to BYU, where I finished up and completed my degree in linguistics. Extremely happily married to my wife, Charmaine Lee. We have 5 children. Talia is 17 years old. Kalea is 14 years old. My son, Kekoa, is 12. My daughter, Kapua, is 10, almost 11. And my little daughter, Linnea, is 8 years old. So that's it as far as who I am.
Brother, where's mom from? Was Auntie Ingrid from?
She's from like the Paua area, like kind of in that area. So.
Oh, okay, close by there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. She kind of moved all over, but she's from Honolulu.
Yeah.
Oh, she's from Honolulu, so.
Yeah, I don't know why for some reason I thought she was from
Papakolea. Hey, I'll tell you what. Papakolea, Aniani Ku, everything else, Honolulu. I was like, where are you from? You're from Honolulu, bro. Trust me. I don't know if you saw that episode. There's only one Hawaiian homes settlement in the city of Honolulu. That's Papakolea Aniani Ku in town. And so, like I said, there's Papakolea Aniani Ku, and then everything else is Honolulu. So,
so Lyndon and I was talking about too is like crazy, right? Because it's country right in the middle of town. Yeah, so technically towny. When you after you graduated and you started getting involved in your career, did you know right off the bat what you wanted to do, or you were just kind of figuring it out, or what? How'd that go?
You know what's funny is I knew I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to get out of Papakolea. Like that, I think that was the biggest thing. And obviously I enjoyed my childhood there and being raised there, but I also knew like my parents, unfortunately, both of them never was able to graduate from college. Yeah, they had. My mom worked for Kamehameha and still does. My dad worked for United Airlines. And the two things that they told me is that we don't want you to do what we do. Like my dad would always tell me that. He's like, I'm working this job so that you don't need to work the job. And so my thing was always to get out of Papakolea and in a good way, right? I always go up there. I took my kids to the park. We live right across the street, Diagonal and Atlas Drive. And it always brings back the memories. Every time I was at Papakolea, I would always see some of my friends growing up, which was awesome, right? And so, but I really knew then. I probably knew in Hauula. I knew that I wanted to sort of better myself. I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to get my education. I also knew that my education was sort of that ticket or that sort of jumpstart out of poverty, right? I mean, growing up in Papakolea, we weren't the most well-off family. Everybody says, "Where's the bathroom?" Point to the mango tree. We don't really. Where's the bathroom? Oh, yeah. Number one, go to the mango tree. Number two, go upstairs to Auntie Lay's house. Like that was our life, right? We all lived in a one room house. My dad worked for United Airlines. We had a 2 bedroom house in Haula, but an hour commute, for him was kind of wearing on him. And I think my mom also wanted me to one day attend Kamehameha. And so to be able to move to town, be closer from my dad, and be closer to Kamehameha was a goal. The problem was housing. So we actually moved in with my dad's mom's first cousin, or my dad's auntie, and we took the covered garage and basically laid a concrete slab right under the covered garage, and then they framed the garage, and that was our house. And to this day, it's still standing. Tongan and Hawaiian built concrete slab, still standing after almost 40 years, still standing. So, but that was definitely something I wanted to do, was get my education, and I really saw. Initially, I thought that getting my education at University of Hawaii was actually the ticket, but I was able to get into Brigham Young University, which was a huge catalyst for being able to change my financial situation, get my degree. And really, I think the biggest catalyst of my life was meeting my wife and having my kids. So that obviously, that decision, I really believe that there are just these fork in the road, like monumental decisions you make in your life. And you might not know exactly why, and you think you know why. But then once events play themselves out, and you get to my age and you're like, man, I'm glad I made that decision. I'm glad I made that. So that really, you look at it encompassing that question, when did you know? I'm like, well, I knew I wanted to get my education, but I had no clue what that decision would do as far as where it would take me. So
Talk a little bit now about what you do for work and where you work at.
okay, yeah, no problem. I work at a company called Lucid Software. I've been doing software sales for about 15 years. In Utah, I sold like B2C software, like trading software, Forex software, my first 4 years of my career. And then the remaining part of my career, I started selling cloud software. So I first worked for like a company called Qualtrics. They're a pretty big company now. Then I worked for a company called Inside Sales. I worked for a startup called Chime, which is a real estate CRM. And then now I'm here at Lucid. So I've been here for almost 4 years. Love the culture here. Love software sales. It's pretty interesting because my degree was in linguistics, but I did have a minor in business. So I did take classes like entrepreneurship classes. I took marketing classes, and that started to steer me in a direction of, hey, getting into sales, right? And then, I feel like I'm a pretty good people person. I love to talk story. My wife says sometimes I talk too much, Mr. Aloha. I was like, you know what, Mr. Aloha, go make some money. So I really like, and I'm grateful. Like, again, I didn't know that this would be my career, is sales. My wife and I have we have a rental property that we rent the upstairs and downstairs, and then we also rent the basement of our current home because it's a good sized home. And so we're looking to get a little bit more aggressive with real estate investing instead of just buying and holding. So we do that as well. And then, volleyball. There's just all these different things that I currently do right now. And it's busy, it's hard, it's time consuming, it's tiresome, but I wouldn't change it for anything. It's allowed me to have the flexibility to be able to enjoy my kids. Not many dads can say that, you've never missed a high school game. My daughter just graduated she's about to graduate from Timpview High School. She just finished her last volleyball season there. She made All-State first team 2 years in a row, offensive MVP 2 years in a row. Yep. And they just won their second state championship with my wife being the head coach. and now she's committed to go and play at Long Beach State. Not too many dads can say they haven't missed one single high school game. Like, I literally have not missed one game of Talia's, and it's such a blessing. And I really, attributed that to having the career that I have. And so, yeah, such a blessing. Like, again, graduated with linguistics, you think I'm going to go teach linguistics or maybe teach English as a second language, something that involves my career, my degree. But nowadays, I mean, a degree is just a paper that says you know how to work and you can meet deadlines and you can complete projects. Now, a lot of graduates are getting into fields that really have nothing to do with their degree, which is a blessing because, again, this is something that is really giving me the freedom to not just have the flexibility to work from home. I'm actually in the office. I usually am not in the office actually, but it is the end of our year. But it also gives me the flexibility to be with my family, spend time with them. So
Yeah, I know. That's always a nice perk, especially nowadays with all this craziness happening.
yep, crazy.
You know, could you talk a little bit about like what would you say are your biggest challenges that you've experienced in life and like your biggest triumph that you've had in your life?
Yeah. Oh, that's great, Gavin. That's a good question. The clean version, right? The clean version.
Yes, please.
I think the biggest, yeah, I might get emotional here, but in 2012, I I thought I tore my ACL. I thought I tore my ACL, of all things, church volleyball. It's pretty competitive. It's crazy, which is probably why I got hurt.
I know church ball can get nuts, bro.
Dangerous. I don't do it anymore. Basketball or volleyball. It's just too dangerous. Anyways, I felt a pop, and the ball went straight down though. That ball went straight down, man. Straight down, hit the wall at the church. Everybody's cheering, and I'm like, I just dropped to the ground, and I knew I heard something. So, went and got it. Got the MRI. They said it was torn. And so when I went in for surgery, you sign a bunch of paper. You go under. I come back out, and they're talking to me, and they said, "Hey, so we thought it was torn. It's not. It's just partially torn." And the problem is if you don't sign a paper to say, "Hey, you can tear this, you can tear my ACL and put in the new one," they can't do anything. So really, all they did was cut me open and then patch me back up. That was the surgery. I developed blood clots from that surgery. Yeah, and so if you guys don't know what a blood clot is, it's a clot of blood in your bloodstream, and people die from it because it will get to different parts of the body. Like if you get a blood clot to your brain doesn't get oxygen, you're dead. If it gets in your heart, you're dead. Like it gets in your lungs, you're dead. And so I got a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that goes into the lung. And basically, it felt like I was suffocating from the inside. It felt like I was underwater. So, and I say clean version because, I was telling my wife, you gotta get me to the hospital. And then, honey, and then I was literally saying, get me to the hospital, like now, like, and so we ran there, and to make a long story short, I mean, they shoved me with Lovenox, which is a blood thinner. They did everything, and they finally got it under control. It's hard though because when you get a blood clot, you have to go up to the cardiac floor. So it's basically the people who are dying, right? People who have heart attacks, old people. It's like a cemetery up there. Like you die. If you go up there, you die. And so they brought my wife and my kids to tell me goodbye. Like it was a really tough time, and it was hard. It was early too, because man, 2012. Actually, it was 2012. It was like 2010 or 11. Like it was so bad that they had to bring my kids in. It's like, hey, your dad might not make it, so you need to say bye. And at that time, we had, I think, 3 kids, and so our family was still young. And just through some like amazing fasting and prayer, it was I was able to make it. They actually shoved a filter down my artery in my neck, and it was like a teepee. It's like a pop-up tent, and it stayed here for God, I had it in there for like 8 months. And then when they took it out, you could see all of the blood clots that it had caught. So it was this little thing that saved my life, from getting a blood clot. It was emotional. It was a hard time. And my wife was there, you know, every step of the way. And the only time my wife wasn't there was when I had these EpiPens with Lovenox, the blood thinner. And in order to get it in my body quicker, you have to stab it in your stomach. And so I told my wife, I was like, come on, hon, you can do it. Because I was like, for this needle is huge. Like that needle was like that big. It's literally like the movies, like The Rock, or whatever, like these movies where they got to shove EpiPens in their heart. This one I had to shove in my stomach so that the body can, absorb it. So that's the one time my wife didn't stand by me. She literally walk in the other room, and I'm like, hey, but it was actually kind of funny. I look back because I think I was just being a wuss, really. There's worse things that people go through. But I just realized like how grateful I was because one, my wife was there every step of the way, and then supportive. Just making sure I was comfortable, this and that, and then the other part of it, just feeling the hand of the Lord, like just, hey, I'm gonna give you a second chance, brother. Don't play church volleyball anymore. Don't play church ball. Don't put yourself in situations where you're going to get jacked up. But I saw it as like a second chance. I kind of rededicated myself, and and it was great. But that was probably the biggest struggle that I faced. I think the struggle we all face is just time. Yeah, just time. Like, we get caught up in work. I mean, it's easily like, look today. I mean, I would have loved to be with my family all day, but I got to come to work, right? And I got to help my company finish out the year strong. Will I be here the whole time? No, because I do have the flexibility, which is awesome. But how can we balance time? And that is the one commodity we can't purchase, right? There's no price on time because nobody can purchase it. It's a non-renewable commodity that disappears and it's gone. And so to me, that is the main struggle with me. How do I balance my life enough to say, hey, I get emotional all the time. I remember when my daughter was born, she's 17 and she's about to graduate and go play volleyball at one of my favorite schools of all time, right? And I have a son who is 5'11", 235 pounds, and he's 12 years old and he's playing football. And I remember when we got his ears operated on because he was partially deaf. Like, it's crazy how quickly things happen in your life. So now it's like, okay, I have even less time with my children, and and I'm getting older. What am I going to do to buy that time, right? So that's the two struggles, man. Those are the two struggles that I faced. So
glad you're still here, brother. I heard I heard the little bit of that story from I think it was Charmaine that actually told me about what happened to you. I can't remember how we was going about talking story, but I heard that. I'm like, holy crap, dude.
Crazy.
I was like, bro, you gotta be alive. You gotta come to my damn wedding, damn it.
No, for real. And I did come to your wedding.
I know. It's crazy you talk about like those near-death experiences, man, because having either yourself or a loved one go through it, it really does change your whole perspective on life. Yeah.
Yep, big time. It forces you to slow down. It really does. It forces you to slow down and reassess and step back and and rededicate. Right. I think that's the big part, is that, I got a second chance, bro. A second chance. You know what I mean? Not many of us. I mean, not many of us get second chances. I mean, both of us have friends, family members that, didn't get second chances and got taken early. And it's like, what are you going to do with the rest of your time? right? And my wife's funny. She, you know me, I've always been an early riser, right? When you live in Papakolea and your parents want to drive a 77 Volkswagen van and the door doesn't work, it falls off a couple times, get rust,
The green
rust,
one, the
rust
green
hole.
fan.
The green one, the green machine, bro. The green machine, the one is like, oh, where's the gas? Oh, where's the gas cover? It's like, oh, that's what the washcloth is for. You shove the washcloth in the hole, that's the gas cover. And then that's the car, bro. You drive in high school. I was like, you wait until that thing's on E and then you park them. And then somebody else got to go pay for the gas. I don't even care who. Somebody else paying for the gas. But anyway, bro, what were we talking about?
I can't remember. I think we was talking about like having near death experience. And then we started talking about growing up with humble beginnings. No, bro. This is classic because I remember riding in that green van, bro. I totally remember riding with you guys in that green van.
It's funny. It's funny. This brings up a real funny topic. Is obviously you and I, because of our age, we've lived in different eras, right? So we've lived in different eras of technology, automobiles. Like it floors me. I was like, they do not know the struggle of making sure that when you pull up to the curb at your elementary school, you have to tell the junior police officer who's about to open your door to not open the door. Don't touch you're touching the door is falling off, freak. You know what I mean? Like that. And then you got, you take that walk of shame outside. My dad comes around. Oh, don't worry about it. I got the door. I was like, oh, so embarrassing. You walking off, bye, dad, bye. That was by the worst car. But I always tell my children as well, like, you have to be, we're talking about being grateful for second chances. Like, you just always have to have that attitude of gratitude. Yeah, attitude of gratitude. My schedule right now is pretty crazy. I fly down to California from Utah on Fridays. My daughter plays for a really prestigious club in California, a volleyball club, Mizzou Long Beach. The setter at Stanford went to Mizzou Long Beach. Like, I mean, they put out legit players, and it's a crazy schedule, even for a 14-year-old, right? She's not even. I mean, this is kind of teaching her how to travel and balance her time and rest and all this stuff. But I being down there, there's a lot more like homeless people. There's a lot more people struggling. There's a lot of people hustling. I mean, you got like you guys selling street tacos and selling like phone covers, like out the jacket. Bro, I was like, hey, hombre, you want the phone cover, friend, come here. Like people are hustling, and there's homeless people, and it's actually really good for my children to be exposed to that. In Utah, it's a little different, right? It's freezing cold, so I mean, it's hard for the homeless people to be out, right? And there's homeless people wherever, and there's people that need help, period. But in California, because of the weather, they're right there, right? And it's good. It's good for my children to understand that. They need to know how real the struggle is out there, but they also need to learn to appreciate what they have. And I'm telling this kid, I was like, Khalil, you fly down to California to play your favorite sports at the highest level, and you do it for 4 days straight, and then you jump on a plane and you come back. That's your life. And I tell my kids, even Talia, who's going to Long Beach State to play volleyball, I was like, you guys, how many kids actually get to play their favorite sport, play it at a high level, and then Talia go and play at the highest level, right, in college? And then my son actually just recently, they took second place at the FBU championships in Florida, where they have different teams from all over the country. They have to win out and qualify. Then they all go to Florida, and they basically play for the national FBU championship. They ended up taking second. I mean, they were playing teams that were just extremely talented. Fortunately, they were able to beat a couple to get to the finals. They lost in the finals to a really good team from South Florida. But I remember sitting with my son, and me and my son, we just joke around so much, right? I mean, we joke about everything. But one thing I really got serious with him was telling him how you have to have this attitude of gratitude. Like, you have friends back home that played football with you but they didn't make the all-star team, right? You were fortunate enough to make it, and now you're having opportunities. I'm like, I wish I had opportunities when I was 12 years old to travel completely across the country and be in a beautiful place like Florida and be able to play football and things of that sort. So, what I try to do as a dad is I try to make sure my kids are grounded, even though they live a life that, maybe you and I didn't have growing up. I try to keep them grounded so that their heads don't get in the clouds too much. And they become more appreciative. But then they also realize that, hey, you know, yeah, mom and dad are gonna leave you stuff, but you gotta work, right? You guys gotta go to work. You gotta earn this. You gotta learn how to work, how to struggle, and how to persevere in order to achieve whatever goals that you have, right? And my son, he's like, I'm gonna play in the NFL. I was like, that's fine. There's a really small percentage. You are Samoan, so your chances go up more, right? Than being Hawaiian. So we got that kid. But there's an extreme amount of work that has to go into even to get to the college ranks, to get a full ride scholarship in college. And so with my son, as much as we joke around, I'm very serious with my children. It's like, hey, one, attitude of gratitude. Two, if this is something you really want, you have to work. Like with Kalea, I mean, she's getting opportunities to play volleyball out of state in California against the best teams in the country. I was like, you got to work. It's not something that just falls in your lap. So yeah, teaching the kids how to work, I think that's really important.
Heck yeah, man.
I don't know how that happened with the door the door on the green machine falling off.
No. I mean,
Be grateful for maybe van doors that
totally.
don't fall.
Oh no, that totally segues too, because you think about it, growing up in humble beginnings like we did, having all of those experiences made us realize, like, okay, maybe I don't want this kind of lifestyle for my kids, and I want to progress, to be better or whatnot. I've even had these conversations with my son too. There's been times when he's like, I don't want to do certain things. I don't want to maybe not study. I don't want to do cleaning around the house and everything like that. I says, okay, let me show you what happens when you don't want to do certain things. So I go take him downtown. And they go, it's the crazy thing. One of my cousins is actually homeless, bro. And I actually saw her downtown when I was driving around. I was like, holy crap. And I said, you see that girl over there? That's part of your family. Now, you got to be careful, because if you go down this path, this is where you might end up. This is, I told him that. And even one time he was getting so rambunctious and unruly with me. I literally opened the door. I tell him, come on, you want to go this route? You might as well go with the homeless right now. And I was grabbing his arm. Come on, let's go. He's like, no, I don't want to go. I was like, come on, you might as well go now. And ever since then, he stopped complaining.
Stop complaining. Straight in there.
I know, man. Important question. So, if you have any advice to give fellow Polynesian brothers out there that are maybe struggling or going through stresses in life, because I know you got a lot of cool stories, bro, that you already talked about too. What kind of advice would you want to give these Polynesian guys that are going through rough times, stress and whatnot? What would you want to say?
Oh, I think the first thing is know that God is mindful of every single one of us. Yeah, there's a living God that you can go to when you struggle. Love your wife and kids. I think that's, put them in front of you. Yeah. We know, bro. We know what we used to do. Right? We used to get 4 Xboxes at our house, one on the porch, one in the living room, one in the bedrooms, and one in the kitchen. And we would stay up all the way till 6 a.m., 7 a.m. the next day playing Halo, right? And that was the one thing I had to give up immediately to get my wife. And we were dating at the time. That was, and I don't know about anybody else. That was a big sacrifice for me. You know what I mean? It was a big, when you're giving up something you love so much, that like Halo, the midnight Halo games, like that's. But I mean, I think that's the whole thing. It's, we're struggling, but the things that are going to help us get out of that struggle are things that are right in front of us, right? They're not unknowns. It's, hey, if you're struggling with something, you need time to get out of that funk. So how do you build more time? How do you create more time? You give up some of the things that you like. I love to sleep. I only sleep 5 hours. I only sleep 5 hours. Like I'm automatic, no matter what, I'm automatically up. And people say you need 7, 8 hours of sleep. No, you don't. You don't need five. Shoot, I live on 4 or 3 sometimes, right? But if I'm making sure that I'm not oversleeping, that's an extra 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week. 14 hours a week times 50 is 600 plus hours every single year. That's a lot of hours in a day that you can go and allocate towards getting you out of, depression or anxiety or losing weight or getting a better job or trying to get an education, right? That's the big thing. And being goal oriented, right? Start off small, have really specific metrics, like whether it's the time you work out, the time you wake up, time to like study, or maybe you're getting a real estate license, or you're honing your craft, like reading a book, really specific metrics that you can measure every single day. And they're just keeping you accountable. And they review those, whether it's on a monthly basis or like a job, like quarterly basis, like you're quarterly reviewing yourself. Have those times to, again, step back, review. And then the other thing too is, whether you're single, or whether you're like single, or whether you're dating, whether you're have a family, you're a single dad, single parent, whatever it may be, making sure that you take full advantage of the time that you have with your family, because that time disappears so fast. So,
Amen, brother. You're talking about being goal oriented. There's a bunch of other guys that I talk story with, and we kind of hold each other accountable. Yeah, we like text message each other every so. Maka's in that group. Maka Kione. Yeah. Fellow classmate, and it's pretty cool because if you can find like-minded people to help keep you on track, that totally helps. It's been super grateful, super good for me to having gone and grown up with guys like you, because you high achieving. A lot of the guys that I hung out with most of the time, I noticed, are very high achievers, even in college as well. And they always talk about like making sure you hang out with people that are good influences on you. Yeah. And that's true to this very day. Like, I think that's part of the reason why I like doing these podcast episodes, because I get to talk story with all you Polynesian brothers that, in my opinion, are very high value guys, high achievers that have accomplished much. And all of us, the common thing I noticed is that all of us have God in our lives, regardless of what religion. Not everybody is the same religion. And all of us have gone through some crazy struggles, bro, with poverty, abuse, addiction, near-death experiences, learning disabilities, all this kind of stuff, bro. It's crazy. And like I mentioned earlier in one of the videos, like I've seen so many of our brothers, our Polynesian brothers, fall victim to those things and just give up. And seeing them go to jail, go to the hospital, get arrested for whatever reason. And if they can just know that there's another way, and see brothers like yourself taking it another way. When you freaking live in humble beginnings, where you get one car door falling off and, had to squeeze into one garage to live with your family, all that kind of situation. And people just like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to be like this and not do anything about it. And look where you're at now. Account sales executive, killing it now, raising a family of, what was it? 5 kids, right?
5 kids, 4 girls, 1 boy.
Right. 5 kids and a wife, and living over there, bro. Hey, not too many people can brag about that kind of stuff,
And you know what, bro? No need brag, bro. It's this gratitude. I'm glad you bring that up. It's like there's humble beginnings. That's kind of what a lot of us, because we grew up together. But it also shows that, just like you said, like the thing about like some of the men that have been on this show or this cast, these videos, is that, when you hit rock bottom, the only direction you can go is up. That's right, bro. Always can. It's not if can, no can. It's always can. Always. So
I appreciate you, man, doing this, bro. Seriously, that is cool. Like, so right now, you're the 4th Papukalea boy that I've had on the show. Counting on number 5 coming on here. Hopefully soon. We'll see. I don't know who's gonna be yet, but I reached out over there. I gotta say this too, Adam. in my opinion, is probably one of the most talented guys I know. He's one of the few guys that I know that has excelled academically, athletically, and even artistically too. Doing music and Polynesian dance with this guy several times. You actually can see us performing on YouTube in several episodes of BYU Living Legends if you're curious. Just look up Living Legends Alaska and you'll see it.
Just remember, that is not my brother Lyndon. That is actually me dancing. Make sure you guys know. I have been approached. I've been approached many times about online videos.
That's so crazy.
That is me. That is me. Oh.
Yeah. No, but seriously, bro. Hey, love you big time, bro. I appreciate you doing this, man. Seriously.
Oh, bro, I had so much fun. It was great.
Yeah. So stay tuned now for the next episode of Holy Kaiko, folks. And you get any questions, you can lay it on Adam in the comments.
Oh, go ahead.
Subscribe. So mahalo, everybody.
Bravo. Aloha.